We have Gokhan Sonmez over here. He is so successful person, and we want to hear some his own story from him. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing wonderful, doing wonderful. Happy to see you again. Would you
A
like to?
lovely day.
It is a sunny, great day. Would you like to say something? Who are you?
Who am I? As you said, my name is Gokhan, and I live in Plano, Texas. And so, what do you want to know about me?
Because I know you're so successful person. How come you
Thank
became
you.
that successful?
I'm originally from Turkey, Istanbul, Turkey, and I've been in the States for 40 years. And first, I came to United States in Cincinnati, Ohio, and that's where I went to school. I got my bachelor's degree in aeronautical engineering in Istanbul, Istanbul Technical University. Then I attended University of Cincinnati, where I got my master's degree in aerospace engineering.
What job are you doing right now?
Well, as I said, by education, I'm an aerospace engineer. But back in, right now I'm doing real estate investment. Prior to that, I did some stock market investment. And while I was doing stock market investment as a trader, I met this lady, and through her, I got involved in real estate investment. So that was back in 2010, 15 years ago. So ever since, I've been working in construction and buying distressed properties, and I renovate them, and then I sell them with a profit.
So you made all this money through the real estate?
No, I made most of my money in aerospace engineering because I held some title. That's only 45 people in the world. I represent FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, and I was a freelance consultant working with big aircraft manufacturing companies. I made most of my money in doing aerospace engineering, and I used that money to acquire properties in real estate.
Why are you so successful and you always selling your house in almost first week? What is secret behind this?
I know I'm good at what I do. I wouldn't consider I'm the best in Dallas, but so I made a pretty good name in flipping high-end properties. So the reason I'm successful is I pay attention to the details, number one, and number two, people call me perfection. In order to finish a product, it has to be to my satisfaction first, okay? And I don't do jobs just to make money, and I have to be satisfied personally before I can sell that product to someone else. If I don't like it myself, if I cannot, I ask myself, can I live in this house? If I cannot live in this house, I wouldn't sell it, okay? And the other thing is, a lot of investors, they buy the property and they let a GC take care of the work, okay? And they hardly visit the property, and I cannot expect a great product out of that. So you have to be on top of your job, number one. I'm usually, I'm a hands-on person. Being hands-on, I don't swing the hammer, but I usually stay on top of my people, okay? Because in my business, when something goes wrong, you have to correct it immediately. And if you wait 3-4 days, sometimes the errors, mistakes, and they're incorrectable.
Can anyone have just $1 million enter this business?
Yes and no. Just like in anything else, you need to have education, okay? The best part of education is not only theoretical education, but work with some mentor, okay? That is the most important thing. You can get all the theoretical education and read books and go to seminars and everything, but when you're on your own at your first project, you may you may screw up. Okay, so basically, I suggest anybody who wants to get into this business to work with a mentor first. Okay, do a couple of projects with a mentor, just partnership or whatever you can, and then when you feel better about what you're doing, then you can do it on your own.
How about your personal life? What do you do in this age to stay strong or stay healthy?
I'm trying to stay healthy at this point. I used to be a competitive bodybuilder. So I've been in sports all my life. I was a gymnast and I played volleyball, and I did martial arts for 6 years. I have second-degree black belt in karate Shotokan. Before I came to United States, I was a runner-up in Turkey in bodybuilding. That was many, many years ago. And then back in early 90s, I won Mr. Texas title. I won the first place in light heavyweight and bodybuilding back in early 90s.
With this age, you are super successful. You still have a wonderful family, and the life everyone desired, you live in that life. We want that life. Like, what can we do to get your life?
Discipline. Whatever you do. One time, I heard this phrase, which I will never forget, and that became my life logo. And so how you do one thing is how you do everything, okay? So if you're successful in school, you're going to be successful in sports. You're going to be successful in business, okay? So I don't, I think that comes with being perfectionist, okay? I don't do anything half-assed, and I don't do it just to do it, and I want to do it to do the best at what I do, okay? It comes, I don't know if I would recommend to everyone because it comes with its own stress, okay? Because, if I cannot be the best at what I do, I don't feel good about it. And the other thing important, people always compete with other people, okay? In my life, I never competed with anybody else. Not in sports, not in school, not in business, okay? I only compete with myself. I have to be better tomorrow than I was the day before. That's my, life philosophy. And every day, before I go to sleep, I ask myself, what did I do today? Okay? So what am I going to do tomorrow? I have to be satisfied with what I did today. That's the key of being successful.
People on 20, they still haven't decided what they should do.
Okay.
And what kind of business they have to choose, or what school they go. For example, like one person in 20 years old coming over here say, I want to be a businessman and I want to make money. What would you like to say?
Well, first of all, I'm not going to say be a doctor, be an engineer, be an architect or anything like that. You can do anything you want. The most important thing is self-confidence, okay? So you have to believe in yourself, okay? In this world, there's a lot of haters, and there's a lot of procrastinators, and there's a lot of people who tells you, hey, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. Well, disregard everything they say, okay? Believe in yourself. And whatever you do, okay, whatever you do, never quit, okay? So if you don't believe in yourself, you'll never be successful. If you have any doubt, you're not going to be successful. And you have to convince yourself, hey, I'm good enough and I can do it.
So should we choose one thing and stick with that?
Absolutely, absolutely.
But in age 20, we don't know what should we choose. We don't know which one is good for us.
So most people have an idea until 20 what they want to do. But if they don't, then first of all, you cannot have like 20, 30 careers. Maybe you can have like 2 or 3 in mind. and you can reduce it to like 1 or 2, and then once you reduce it to 1 or 2, then you can talk to people who are in those fields, and then ask questions. And the kids these days, they are so lucky. Okay, and when I was growing up, there was no internet. Okay, so I couldn't get into YouTube, I couldn't get onto Google or whatever and try to do research. And the kids these days, they have all the resources in their hand, and you can watch YouTube videos just like this, and you can go to Google, you can talk to AI, and know what you want to do and stick with it. And again, like I said, believe in yourself, and have some confidence, and don't hesitate to take risks. Without taking risk, you will never get rewards.
I see fail people start one career like doing 5 6 years, then after 5 years they switch into other
Sure.
things.
Well, I mean, of course, if you start something at the age of 20 and then change in 25, and then change it again, well, like I said, as education, I'm an aerospace engineer, and I did that for 30 years. Okay, that's where I made my money. Okay, as an engineer, and first I worked with many aircraft companies and what we call corporate America, and then I switched to on my own, and I was a completely independent consultant, and which I recommend for everyone, because when you're a consultant, freelance consultant, you can name your own hourly rate. Of course, you have to pay your dues. You have to prove yourself before you become an independent consultant. After so many years, I decided to get into stock market trading, and also, which I do right now, real estate investment. So, but you can change later on what you want to do, but you don't want to change it every 4 or 5 years.
Like, what is the good age to start at this kind of job, or start any kind of business?
Well, I mean,
is there any age?
First of all, I recommend anyone, even if you, what I do right now, I have 3 college degrees. Okay, I have 1 bachelor's and 2 master's degrees. To do what I do right now, you don't need master's degrees, or you don't even need bachelor's degrees. But that paid me to get into what I do today. So I recommend everyone at least to have a college degree, first of all. But you may not, ideally, earn business at what your degree is in, okay? But it doesn't happen all the time. I have business degree, I have aerospace degree, aeronautical engineering degree, but I build houses now.
How long are you going to do this job? Until which age? You said
Well,
you're 60 years old, right?
Yeah, a little older than that, older than that. But so I don't have to do it today. But I'm not a type of person who would sit on my butt and do nothing. And I have to be productive. Okay. The key is not to make a lot of money. The key is to feel good about yourself. If I'm not productive, I don't feel good about myself. I have to be productive. I have to produce something. It doesn't have to be earning money, but I have to produce something. And to answer your question, I don't have to do it today. I do it because I enjoy it, and I don't do it as crazy as I was 10 years ago. Obviously, 10 years ago I was doing major projects. Right now I'm taking smaller projects.
That's why I keep asking this question to myself. Some people, they have really great income. With even that income, still they are working. Like, you have great income, Brian. Even if you don't work, this money will be enough for you until forever. And why? Like, how long are you going to work, or why you're still working?
Well, that's all relative. Okay, so to someone, having a lot of money changes from person to person. It depends on your lifestyle. It depends on your spending, and you can have, $500,000 to someone, it's a lot of money, and they say, hey, it's going to last me for the rest of my life. And then to someone else, you can have $3-4 million, and he can say that's not enough for me. Of course, it also depends on what age you're in. Okay, and I don't have to work, but I like being productive. And right now, I'm not working as hard as I was 10 years ago. And so as you get older, maybe you can switch to passive income, okay? Like for example, and I was doing major projects, 1.5 million and up, like on the producing single family houses. And right now, most of my portfolio is based on a rental portfolio. And so that's like a passive income. And you don't have to work hard, but we call it mailbox money. Cash flow. The cash flow comes in.
Would you like to say something to people on their 30 years old?
Well, first of all, they have to get good education. Okay, we're talking about basic education. So, obviously you have to have your high school diploma and so on and so forth. And then, these days, the young kids are so lucky because they have great amount of accessibility on anything. And when I was a kid, there was no internet. So we couldn't find information about almost anything. We had to go to the library. We have to read books to learn about things. And but now you can find out almost about anything in a matter of seconds. I mean, you can Google something, you can ask the AI. Know what you want to do, and have like maybe 3-4 different career projections, and then reduce it to like 1 or 2. And once you reduce it to 1 or 2 areas, talk to people who has done these things. The most important thing, anything in the world, is to have a good mentor. Communicate.
But the
with
mentor, it requires some money. It's not easy. It's not cheap. It's expensive.
Not necessarily. For example, what I do for a living right now, okay, real estate. If I knew what I knew, if I knew what I know now, that like 15 years ago, I would have asked someone, hey, I want to come work with you and I don't want any money, okay? And I just want to learn it, okay? And if somebody comes up to me and they say, hey, Gokhan, brother, big brother, can you teach me this? I don't need anything. I'm going to help you, I wouldn't say no. I would have helped those people, okay? Which I do. A lot of people come ask me.
It is a great point. I always support this idea because we are going to school 4 years for learn something, right? 4 years basically. Plus we pay money to school.
Right.
And here, without paying, just come in work for free for you 1 year. It's going to be enough. And here is
absolutely
a lifetime career. We will take it from you.
Yes. Like I said, to me, it feels strange right now, but back 15 years ago, so I remember, so I walked up to the instructor who was doing this, and I asked him, hey, I want to partner with you. And he told me, yeah, sure, put all the money, and I'm going to put this, sweat equity, and I'm going to teach you. Back then, it didn't make sense to me. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I'm taking all the risk, I'm putting all the money. But now it's like, oh my God, it makes all the sense in the world, okay? Because not only you're learning something, but you're making money at the end, okay? So a lot of people will say, oh no, you put 50% of the money, I'll put 50% of the money. Wrong, because that person gives you all the sweat equity, all the know-how, what we call know-how, okay? You have zero know-how. You may have money, but he has zero know-how. But anyway, so try to volunteer to work for free and from a mentor, and he's not going to say no. Okay, and then you learn you learn the deal.
How much money do we need for start flipping house?
Or for flipping houses, you almost need no money. You almost need no. You may need money for education, okay? Because I spent $10,000, $20,000. I spent a lot of money to learn it theoretically, okay? But I was lucky enough because I made good money from my past career, which was aerospace engineering. So I had my own cash. But in this business, okay, there are so many different strategies. There's about at least a dozen different strategies that you can make money. You can make money being a wholesaler. You don't need a single, I shouldn't say you don't need a single dime. You may need to have a banner signs. You need to call people and ask people, so being a wholesaler, you find a property and you assign it to someone, you make $20,000, $30,000 with no risk. But you have to put your sweat equity, okay? If you want to do what I do, okay, there are companies like we went to a couple of days ago, what we call a hard money lending. And you can borrow money from those people. Obviously, they charge you like 10 to 12% interest, okay? So, and then obviously you make money, and then obviously you pay interest. In this case, it may reduce your net profit, okay? But you still make money and learn it, okay? So the answer is you don't need a lot of money to get into this business.
Where we can take money if we don't have any money?
Bank will not loan you because banks are your conventional lenders. They work with their retail buyers, okay? If you want to be in this business, you're not a retail buyer. You are a short-term buyer. Most of my flips take about 6 to 8 weeks, sometimes maximum about 10, 11 weeks. So average flip is about 2 months. And I'm not talking about lipstick on a pig. I'm not talking about cosmetic. I'm talking about major flips and where you knock down the walls and structural members and so on and so forth. Okay. So and I'm lucky enough. I spent a lot more than a typical investor. But my houses are sold way over typical comparable sales, or I should say most of the time more than what I'm asking. The reason I spent a lot more money than a typical investor, okay? So having said that, okay, so my general turnaround is about 3 months. In the last year and a half, the market is not that good, so it takes a little longer. But until about year and a half ago, I've been doing this for 15, 16 years. I never held a house on market more than a week. Typically, in less than a week, we sell the house. So if you look at it, your turnover time is from acquiring the property until you get funded, it's about 3 months. So, like I said, the bank will not loan you the money for 3 months. So you need the money from either private money, we call it. Private money, what does that mean? It means friends and family, okay? And you pay them interest. Or hard money, okay? The reason we call it hard money is not because it's hard to get it, but I don't know why they call it. But anyway, it has nothing to do with being easy or hard. It's called hard money. You get it from people like a capital funding, like we went to an event a couple of days ago. They loan you the money. Their rates are higher than your mortgage rates, obviously, and usually from 10 to 12% interest, and they usually charge you a point, okay? But they're short-term lending.
So if people have a little bit money, they still want to do some business. Which one is more profits, tear down or flipping house?
Okay, which one is more profitable?
Yes.
The answer is not that simple. Okay, but here's why. So tear down or rebuild, okay, is easier.
Which one is easy?
Brand new house is easier. Renovation is harder because when you walk in the house, you can see certain things. You can see you need to change the windows. You can see you need to change the roof. You can see if there is a foundation problem. You won't see if you have a water problem until you do the hydrostatic test or leak test, okay? And some things are visually obvious, okay? But there are tons of surprises. When you build a brand new house, there's no surprises. It's easier, okay? But it takes longer. The reason it takes longer is because of the paperwork. When you do a renovation, I can finish a house in less than 2 months. If it's a cosmetic, I can finish it in 4 weeks. So if I make, let's talk about profits. If I make $75,000, $80,000 in a simple renovation, which is possible, okay? If I finish in 4 weeks, well, I can do a house from start to finish, minimum 6 months, okay? In 6 months, I can do 4 flips, okay? So I can do $200,000-$300,000, even if it's I'm not talking about million and up. I'm talking about modest houses, 500, 600. So I can make $200,000-$300,000 in 6-7 months, okay? Well, maybe you will make $250,000 profit, or not necessarily. I mean, if you're selling a house for $500,000, obviously you're not going to make $250,000. Maybe you're going to make about $100,000. So it may be, the answer is not that easy. You may make more money and doing more, flips in the same time as you're doing the entire house. But then if you're making a house, like if you're doing Highland Park, okay, so you can make $1 million profit, but it also takes longer. It takes about probably at least a year or so. So everybody has to start with renovation, for sure. Nobody can start with building a brand new house unless you have a really good education and you work with a mentor for a house or two. But it's easier to start with the renovation first.
Can we do, for example, if someone has more money, starting one house, starting multiple house at this end of the year, he will probably finish more than one house and gain more income. Is it possible?
Of course it's possible. And again, I mean, did you start this yesterday or did you start 5 years ago? Obviously, if you just started, if you're a beginner, you're not going to be able to do multiple projects at the same time. You're going to have to do a small project. And imagine when you're a baby, you first crawl, and then you start walk, and then you start run. I mean, and then maybe 10 years later you become a marathon runner. Okay, so you don't start running right away. So you have to crawl first, and you have to take baby steps. So that's where the renovation comes into the picture, and single renovation first. Once you feel comfortable, okay, then you can do multiple. But then remember, when you do multiple, then you have to deviate your attention to multiple places. So the key is, like I said, if there is a problem, you need to catch the problem before it's too late.
Last things, you want to say something to anyone, the people who watching you right now?
Like I said earlier, have confidence in yourself. Don't let anybody tell you cannot do something. That is the key. Don't be a procrastinator, and don't try to refrain yourself from negative people, and try to be around with positive people. And again, don't let anybody tell you cannot do something.
The people who don't have enough money or graduate from school, they have one shot. Like, they have to be really careful what business they need to answer.
Okay.
That's why they keep asking the people, and some people, they don't know how to do that, and which is coming negative.
Okay, so whatever you do, okay, in order to be successful, you have to have education. Education comes with different avenues.
When you say education, means school
No,
education or
no,
the
no.
specifically whatever you're doing?
Education is learning something. You obviously you learn a lot of stuff in the school. Okay, the best education first you have to learn theoretically. Okay, on paper, okay, and then you go on the field and do it yourself. Okay, so obviously certain things may require money, but there are certain things doesn't require any money. Okay, so in my field, okay, we have these guys who are called bird dogs. Okay, well, those people, they come knock on the door and talk to people. Okay, and they say, hey, I want to buy your house. They don't want to buy my house. They know someone who wants to buy the house. Okay, so you don't need money. Okay, so you can put banner signs. Okay, and hey, you see those on the corners. Okay, I want to buy your house, whatever. Okay, you don't need money for those. Okay, so you can be a wholesaler. You don't need a lot of money for that. Okay, so what I'm saying, my point is, there are a lot of things that you can do without having too much money. Okay, and once you prove yourself in a field, you can go to the next step.
But buying a house is right now in United States, it costing $500,000-$600,000. If you don't have that money, once you graduate from school, you have maybe $50,000-$60,000.
I think you missed my point. You missed my point. As I said, don't sell a house as soon when you're 20 years old. Okay, there are other things like okay, I'm in real estate, so I know about real estate. If I talk real estate, okay, there are so many things in real estate you can make money without having to have too much money. Okay, and you can find, okay, if somebody comes to me, hey, Mr. Gokhan, I have a house and I looked at it, I talked to the person, he wants to sell it. I'm going to pay $500 or $1,000 to that person. Okay, you can do that with 10 people. Okay, you make $10,000 a month. You find a house. That person is still in real estate. Okay, he's finding a house for other investors. Okay, so you can make $5,000 to $10,000 being a bird dog and find these houses for other people. And then when you accumulate your, maybe after a year or so, maybe you can save $50,000-$60,000. Then it could be a down payment for a house. Then you can start your own flips. My point is, okay, education is not necessarily earned in school. Education is earned in life. And the most successful way of learning something is to work with somebody who has already been successful in that field. That's called mentorship.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. That was a great conversation.
All right.
I think we'll learn a lot of things from you, and we will do one more things.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.